Y'all, if you are not watching Delilah, you are missing out. Let's get into this episode 6 breakdown. Okay, so I started watching Delilah because of Tony Childs. I mean, Jill Marie Jones. She will forever be Tony Childs. I love her. She's amazing. And little did I know that this show was going to be a diamond in the rough, packed with such a great story, tons of drama, a little bit of mystery, and it is just a perfect complement to what I'm already watching. As you guys know, on this channel, we cover All American, Snowfall, Queen Sugar, Grownish, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and so many more. New shows will be premiering next month, and we'll be adding those to the queue as well. But Delilah, to me, gives me just enough drama, just enough mystery, a little bit of sex and romance, as well as family and friendship. It is so great. Like, this episode literally has a little bit of it all, and I'm going to break down every single part of it. So, I hope you got something to drink. I hope you got a little snack, because we got to talk, honey. We got to talk. Delilah got a lot going on, starting with getting out of jail at the top of the episode. So Mace is charged with watching the kids when Delilah is taken to jail last episode. She is being charged with tampering with evidence for having Greg Shea's files in her possession after someone has tipped off the other side as well as the authorities of her actually having them. But Demetria gets her out right away. She actually got taken away while her dad was in her office as well. She actually brought him some of the files to check out so that he could see how much of this was actually a cover up and how shady things were. So I'm a little bit nervous as to if he had anything to do with it. But Demetria gives her a hard drive after she's released from jail, and that came from her father by way of Demetria. And apparently on the hard drive is a copy of Leah Davis's laptop, which was found by an anonymous tip that same night that she was arrested. And you know that the laptop and her phone was stolen from her apartment. So I'm like, okay, maybe Daddy-O ain't working against her. Maybe he is really as straight and narrow and, you know, on the right path as it seems. But you never know, because they have an estranged relationship and she really don't fool with her father like that. So I'm gonna still keep my eyes on Papa. But yeah, that's where we start off, and we're back into the thick of things in reference to this case. We've been struggling with Tamara and Delilah this whole season, just trying to figure out who is on the actual right side. It appears that Tamara isn't on the right side because Delilah tends to take the great moral high ground, and she tends to do things based off of what is right, what is just, and not necessarily for money, or in Tamara's case, for a partnership. But we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. Child, Katya's ultimatum works, and she gets to meet the kids, and Gordon gives her a key, or lets her keep her key, and decides that she's going to move in. I'm not here for it. This is the little, I don't want to call this lady out her name, child. I don't want to call this lady out her name. But she has something to do with the affair that prompted the dissolution of Gordon and Delilah's marriage, because Gordon cheated on Delilah with her, and he is so hell-bent on not losing her that he caves into her ultimatums and allows her to meet the kids. They should have got on the same accord before they let this happen, because she just like blabbering during their little game night. She sits down with Maia, and Maia asks, "So how did you meet my dad?" And she just lets all the juice loose. "Oh, at school. Yeah, I'm a student." And Maia puts two and two together, child, and she is not with it. And by the looks of it, by the end of the episode, after she puts two and two together and confirms it with Delilah, we start to see a little glimmer of hope in reference to their relationship, because Maia has been giving Delilah the blues this entire season, child. Just being very difficult, very combative, and a little bit entitled. And now I think she's starting to have a little bit of empathy for her mom, and she's able to see her father for, what he is or what he has done. And she doesn't approve of him bringing the woman that he had an affair with around them. She doesn't want anything to do with it. And I'm like, child, about time, because your mother be working hard, fighting the power for everybody, showing up for you. Even in this episode, she goes above and beyond to get her an audition into a conservatory that the spots were closed, and she breaks her back to make sure that she can get her opportunity like that. So I am actually glad. Like, I'm sorry that her heart gets broken by learning this about her dad, but I'm glad that this is something that brings these two together, because I was tired of seeing this girl be all rude to her mama. Tamara comes over to confront Delilah about not telling her about getting arrested, and Delilah makes a valid point of, like, she couldn't call you because you were going to use it to exclude the Gary Shea files from the case. And then, of course, Tamara, with her legalese, Shea was like, yes, of course I would do that, but that doesn't make me a bad friend. It makes me a great lawyer, and I can be there for you and be a great lawyer. And it's like, child, no, you can't. And Delilah lets her know, you can't have both, sis. Not right now. Not in this moment. And I agree with her. We're going to talk a little bit more about Tamara, because, child, she had an episode today. Andre pays Nate a visit. You know Andre, the friend of both Nate and Christine. Yeah, he pays Nate a visit and delivers the divorce papers. And then has the nerve to look ashamed. And Christine has the nerve to, in the divorce papers, be asking for full custody. And we learn from Delilah that she has gone 6 months without interacting, supporting, or helping to take care of Dion. You know, Delilah wants to get her rights taken away, because if she want to fight fire, we could fight with fire. But Nate is not there yet, child, and it ultimately turns into her actually coming to get Dion, because she needs to be able to strengthen her case, so she needs to start visiting him and taking care of him and taking him with her, doing some partial custody visits. And I am not liking where this is going. Nate is a disabled veteran. Dion is the sweetest little kid almost that I've ever seen. And child, you want to be out here sleeping with y'all's friend, destroying y'all's marriage, uphill, like throwing a wrench in y'all's whole life for what, sis? For what? Andre seemed like he abusive, so I noticed a little bit more to that story. Child, I can't. I want to throw the whole Christine away. Matter of fact, I want to set Andre on fire. But, let's not get violent, Erica. And then in this episode, we get both of the deposition preps. So we're prepping for this big case between Fred Osborne and Leah Davis. There's still so much conspiracy talk going on. We haven't gotten much information in reference to what about this is going to tie to Nate. But in Leah's deposition prep, she continues to lie. I can tell she's lying. We find out that whoever stole her laptop had a key to her building. And guess what? Fred Osborne had a key to her building. She says that he returned it, but child, he probably had kept a copy, because he starts calling her on her new phone, how he get the number, sis, and then pops up at the end of the episode. And when she lets him in, because she does let him in, y'all, he walks in, grabs a beer out the fridge, knows where the dang on bottle opener is, and it's very, very comfortable. So it's clear that he has been all up and through that space before, and makes no qualms about his place being there still, even with them being in the middle of this case. And on the other side, Fred Osborne's deposition, we get to see that he got a little racist to him, because he makes a comment to Tamara about, oh, you might be one of the good ones. What is that supposed to mean? And of course, Lil Wayne covers for him and then distracts Tamara by saying, you know what? It's about time that we have this partner talk. Invites her to dinner with his dad, who is the overall owner of their law firm. But it's a bit loaded, because they want Casey there. And they want Casey there because of his political connections as the deputy mayor. He brings a lot to the table, and this allows for us to get a peek into Tamara and Casey's relationship. But again, I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. So let's put a pin in Tamara, because we're going to circle back to sis. Demetria, girl. We get it. You confident. We get it. You outspoken. But you also are overstepping. In this episode, she oversteps with Harper, and then it ultimately results in us getting Harper's backstory. We got a little peek of it or Easter egg earlier in this season, but there was this huge case with a Jane Doe that Delilah actually had but lost, I believe. And Harper was actually the Jane Doe, and we learned the details of the case in which this Jane Doe was driving a nice car, was pulled over in a routine traffic stop, and the cop actually winds up putting her in an involuntary hold in a psych ward, all because by Harper's definition, he could not fathom a black woman being in such a nice car. And I think we're going to get a little bit more information on that case. But in this moment, in this episode, that is what is released or revealed. And that shuts Demetria all the way up. This is actually a case that she wanted Harper to help her research, to do precedent for, and to be able to quote within this case. And that's part of the thing that spokes and gets all of this information to come out. And then we finally get to see Demetria realize that, sis, your foot is now in your mouth. Go ahead and remove it and step aside. You could tell that Demetria is a phenomenal lawyer, but the things that she has in her past or the baggage that she speaks about in this episode, you could tell is what is also pushing her to be so boisterous and not so socially conscious, because she completely misses social cues in which people let her know if something is not a topic that she should be talking about or is overly sensitive, and she just kind of brushed past it. And I'm hoping that her and Harper are going to be able to get past this, but in this case she really did overstep, and it was a little bit disrespectful how she just kept pushing. All right, now we finally back to Tamara. We learn a little bit about Tamara and Casey's relationship dynamic and how it's a balancing act between not being overshadowed by his political power and position. As I mentioned, she's invited to dinner to talk about her partnership, and they want her to bring Casey. So when she brings it up to Casey while they're on their run, she's like, can you just be my partner? Can you just come up as my fiance and it's not as a deputy mayor? And he's like, okay, I get the hint. You want me to be your insignificant other. You want me to not overshadow you. And for the most part, Casey seems to be a very, very supportive boyfriend, fiance. He literally tells her on a few occasions throughout this episode that he is 100% in support of her, that he won't ask her to compromise or take a step back from her career or her ambitions to support his, that he is 100% in her corner. And I feel like something is brewing there. There's a little bit more to that story, but I'm gonna take him at his word because he's been straight up and an amazing fiance support and listening ear this entire episode. So we're going to, again, take it as his word. But at the dinner, we learn he has more political ambitions, and he did not communicate that with Tamara. So we get to see that there is a little bit of a breakdown in communication between the two. It's nothing that's going to cause any super big tension, or at least not any tension that we see immediately, because it's pretty much squashed right after dinner because she asked him about it, and he's very open and honest. But this just helps you to see that while their relationship is great, it's not perfect. And then Jamal reappears by the end of the episode under the guise of needing legal advice. And this just makes me think, where is Mace? Because Mace is the one showing up for your kids, helping you cook dinner, being your private eye, backing you up in your business. And while Jamal is cute and got a good job, honey, and all that, Mace seems to be the one that's holding Delilah down at all times. And I'm just like, sis, he right in front of you. What are we doing? We really not going here? I mean, again, Jamal is cute. He gets her to dance. He pushes her and makes her uncomfortable, but in a great way. He makes her laugh and smile. But I don't know, child. Something about Mace reads keep her. It reads marry him. And Jamal, he knew, so we still getting to know him. I can't really put all my eggs in the Jamal basket just yet. And that is my full episode 6 breakdown for Delilah, this premiere season, season 1. Now it's your turn. Tell me what you thought about the episode in the comment section down below. How do you feel about Delilah and Tamara's friendship? Do you think it was right that Delilah did not call Tamara because she got arrested? Do you think that Fred and Leah still got something going on? Let me know all of that and more in the comment section down below. If you're new here, I'm Erica Vane, and I cover some of your favorite television shows, movies, as well as entertainment news right here on Erica Vane TV. You should join the tribe by hitting subscribe. I promise you're going to love it here. If you missed any of my Delilah coverage, I have my Delilah playlist linked right here. And if you're looking for some new shows to watch that are absolutely incredible as well, go ahead and check out these two suggestions that I got for you right here. And I'll see you tomorrow in the next video. Bye.